Today, in Sell Africa to Africans, we showcase Olayinka Vitamin Company. Started by brother Olayinka himself, a clinical trial manager who has been in the pharmaceutical industry for over 10 years. The company focuses in providing health solutions to black people, non-GMO, organic, gluten-free, and well-renowned for their high potency, purity, and integrity. Olayinka Vitamin Company provides vitamins for black people by black people. I had the chance to speak to the CEO, Olayinka. I really learned a lot from him about health in this conversation, especially vitamin D facts about black people.
Yes, so I am the CEO of Olayinka Vitamin Company. So we actually just manufacture vitamins for black people specifically. Um, so what's interesting about that is that a lot of our people would say, no, vitamins should be, vitamins just vitamins, but like many of you guys know, our bodies are not the same as Europeans or Arabs or Asians. So our bodies is different, right? So a specific vitamin will need different capacity for different people. Example, vitamin D. Black people actually need a higher dosage of vitamin D than any other race. So that means if you're taking the same dosage of vitamin D, like white people, you will get sick. So you have to take dosages of vitamins that attributes to your melanin value. We don't. Dr. Afrika spoke about it. Effectively, he spoke about how we don't take medicines based on or take nutrition based on our melanin value. We take nutrition based on Europeans. That's why you see a lot of vegans or a lot of people who eat healthy still getting sick, still look sick, because they take in nutritional values based on European values. So what I've done is like we manufacture our vitamins based on the kind of level of dosages that we need as African people. Also the level of potency and purity that we need for our body as black people. So, coming from my background, which I'm going to express later on this interview, I figured out that, a lot of the medicines and vitamins that we take today as black people doesn't really work for us or doesn't work as effective as it should be. So I'm very proud of Olayinka Vitamin Company that we're able to kind of manufacture these vitamins that will help the black body work to this, optimal level.
Nice. Well, wow, you you actually went deep into Olayinka. But we'll get to that. But before we get to that, tell us your personal background. Tell us where you're from. Tell us, tell us your personal background. Yeah.
Of course, yes. So I am Nigerian. I'm Yoruba, born and raised. I was born in Nigeria. I came to America when I was 13. So I speak my language, Yoruba, fluently. I'm very, very proud Yoruba man. I'm also a Pan-African, just like you, my brother. And this is what kind of gave birth to this company, the Pan-African philosophy. I've been a Pan-African since I was in Nigeria. I was Nkrumah was my, was my teacher. Marcus Garvey was my teacher. I read many books that opened my eyes up to the philosophy of the unity of African people. So I've traveled all over Africa. So when I go into any country I've been to, I don't look at myself as Nigerian. I look at myself as an African person. And I think that that's what kind of like changed my psyche in how I perceive Africans as a whole. Because many times as African people, when we look at each other, you South African, you Kenyan, you Ugandan, and we kind of like that psychologically does not open us up to what the other person might really have or value the other person, because we have a sense of identity strongly in like say, being I'm Kenyan. So Kenyan is like the best people, we're this, we're that. I'm Nigerian, we're this and that. But not knowing that, you know what? I could learn something better from Uganda. Ugandans might be better at something that I am, And we have that kind of, when we have a Pan-African philosophy and mentality, we tend to learn better. We tend to create a sense of better brotherhood and sisterhood. So I came to America when I was 13. I first was a teacher. I finished college. I got my master's. I became a teacher. I was teaching biology and calculus and chemistry. Then I went into clinical research. So clinical research, I got into pharmaceuticals. So in pharmaceuticals, I learned the real philosophy in terms of making medicines and everything that goes into it. And, how it differs and how it affects the black people directly, right? And how it doesn't benefit us in so many ways, right? So the political aspect of it, the economic aspect of it. So I learned how the system of medicine works in America and internationally. From there, is I just got this idea that, you know what, I need to start making medicines for black people. Let me give you an example. Did you know that the white rat does not exist in nature? You never go into the woods or any forest and see white rats. But if you watch TV, if you see any movie, you see them do experiments on white rats. Why is that? Or white rabbits. You never go to any forest and see white rabbits just jumping around, unless you watch a movie or you just watch some kind of experimentation documentary. Because white rats and white rabbits are actually created for lab testing and to make medicines. And we call it, in the pharmaceutical world, we call it albino effect. So they test these medicines on white rats because it affects the efficacy, which is how effectively it works better on white people more effectively. Example, like we take headache medicine. So you might have a headache, take headache medicine. It might work for you, yes, but it wasn't created for you. So if you want to have the African has every genetic makeup of every other race. That means an African could have blue eyes, African could have green eyes, African could have whatever eyes, and African could have curly hair. African, I mean, even though it's a recessive genes, it could happen. The dark skin, the black skin is a dominant gene. So that is what a strong looking African will look like. That is what the epitome of evolution of any human species will be. The black skin, hair like us, right? But a black and a black person could still have a recessive gene. They can have babies that could have blue eyes. We see it once in a while. So it's not actually, people think it's a good thing, but it's actually not a good thing. It's a recessive gene. That means blue eyes are more likely to have diseases. Are more likely to have cataracts, right? Whiter skin is more likely to have sunburn. It's more likely to have skin cancer, like a darker skin person, right? So if you want to know how drugs work effectively on a black skin, on a black people, or every group in the world, you use the brown mice or a darker mice, or black mice or a brown mice, now, or a brown rabbit. So if you want to know how drugs work effectively for white people, use a white mice or a white rabbit. So that's what we call an albino effect. That's why a lot of times watch movies, we see them do experiments on white rats, on white rabbits. So I just realized this, and I say, you know what, we got to create a company for us. And us not having our own institution in every aspect of the world is where we suffer. That's why we're more prone to a lot of diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure. Just a lot of black women are more likely to die during pregnancy more so than any other group, because we're not in our own element and we don't have institutions that cater specifically to us. So, going back to my background, I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry for more than 10 years. I manage the Europe and America sectors in terms of HIV/AIDS, creating, clinical trials, testing medicines for HIV/AIDS, cancer, ovarian cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, and different other diseases. So I was the manager in charge of basically taking regular, like, we don't call them drugs, we call them IPs. So we call them investigational products. You're taking that aspect and making sure it becomes, just testing them on human beings till they become a drug and FDA, until they get approved by the government. So I was in charge of that in all of America sector and all of Europe. So after 10 years of doing that, I just took my knowledge and it just like started my own company specifically for us. So I'm very, very proud of that. I'm very happy that, to be where we are today as a company.
Yeah. So yeah, like, what inspired you to say, you know what, I need to stop what I'm doing and I need to start my own company that I'm helping Black people directly? What was the eureka moment for you?
I would say throughout a journey as a clinical manager, and pharmaceutical industry has been Eureka, because you see the ignorance of our people. It pains me to see the way our people trust European medicine, to the extent. And I would go to far say the more educated we are as a people, the more trusting we are into the European system. So we take their nutritional values as God, a godsend, or like this book said this, that that paperwork said that. So we take, as I see this going on in Africa, especially I think it's going on in the Caribbean, where a lot of us just take their word, their medicines, their vaccines, their just whatever they bring to the table as God word. And it pains me that I was in charge of many of these projects. And don't get me wrong, not everything that they've created is bad. Some things are good, right? Because again, it benefits them, but it's not molded for us. It's not, vaccines are not a bad thing. Vaccine is actually a good thing, but the thing is that we don't create it. We didn't create it for us. We didn't, like, if they capitalize. There's a capital economy, so they capitalize everything. They got to make money off everything, right? So a lot of the medicines they make is specifically made, one, to make money, and two, to benefit their race. And that's why they push this agenda that all human beings are the same. We're all the same humans. How are you the same humans? How many you watch basketball, brother? So if we're all the same, how many white people could run faster than Kenya, can run long distance than Kenyans? How many Asians can jump like Kobe Bryant, or can move like Shaq? How many Arabs can move like us? How many people have this kind of cultural moves we have? Dance, music, heart. How many races as diversity that we do? We don't. So it's actually in front of us that we're not the same as other races, but they've tricked us into believing that we're the same. So when we believe we're the same, we're taking in every aspect of society. Is destroying us, because one, we think we're the same, so we eat the same food as them. We think we're the same, so we take the same medicine as them. We think we're the same, so we take so anytime we take things that is not of ours, we're actually killing ourselves. Now, the average age of African to live is about 70 years old. 70, 80 years old. That's now considered long living for African. Whereas our forefathers were living past 110, 115, 120. Because now we live into their world. So I think when I really got to the point, I've always felt like I need to get out of the system and create my own system. But it was a process. One, what I did was, as a Pan-African, you have to understand that you are also like a double agent, right? You also have to learn to understand that you in their world. We're not a powerful people yet. We don't control institutions yet. A lot of us have 9 to 5 jobs. So you have to learn to work within their system, but also working to benefit yours. So what I did was I worked in there. I learned the system. Any extra work they want them to do, they want to travel to Finland, want to travel to Sweden, I will go out and learn their systems. I will learn how to work. I didn't go in there as a threat. I go in there as a African that they could trust. I learned how they work internationally. I learned how to work economically. I learned how to market themselves socially, right? So how they market their medicines in Africa is not the same how they market in America, because they understand that we don't see each other as one people. They know we don't see each other as different. Like African American will not see themselves as African. So anything that is going on in Africa they don't have the kind of empathy. Now, I'm not all, but just generally, right? So they know that, and they capitalize on that, right? They know we like lighter skin. They know we like to be mixed. So when they want to push agendas, they push it through that the mixed look, So again, just going through all that process and learning all that information was necessary for me to start my own company, and also using their tools for the benefit of my race. So I think the whole 10 years of my career was like a light bulb in my head, like, I need to get out of the system and I need to help my people.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Now let's move to Olayinka products. tell us. Let's start with tell us your best selling product and why is it the best selling product?
Um, I would say it's between the multivitamins and the vitamin D. So I have it with me right here. We have the multivitamin gummies for adult, and we have one for kids as well. We have the vitamin D. And as I hope you can see my cameras, this is the multivitamin. We have the Pan-Afrikan Marcus Garvey flag, which is which symbolizes the union of all African people. And gummies. So we have vitamin C, we have prenatal gummies. All my vitamins are doing really well. And as you know, we're in Africa, we ship to Africa, we ship to Europe, we all over the world. I think this two do the world the most because one, black people are the most vitamin D deficient on the planet. So so go against that narrative, right? Because a lot of us have this kind of idea that if I go out and stay in the sun, I'll be fine. But that's not true. You also need to take the supplements, and why that is that the sun has different UV rays, right? Sun rays are not good for even the human skin, for the black skin. The sun at 2 o'clock is not the same sun at 4 o'clock. The sun in 1984 is not the same sun in 2024. So we're dealing with different suns, right? So there's two fallacies I want to talk about when it comes to vitamins, right? So one, when it comes to vitamin D, you should go to the sun because the sun has the purest form of vitamin D we need. And I think between 12 and 112 is noon and is good sun. But you also need to take your supplement as well because you can never get all the full nutrition just from going to the sun. Right. Again, all the time difference, like I said before, the time difference of the sun matters because there's different UV rays. Some UV rays will burn your skin more than others. Right. So the sun is not the same. Right. So I always tell people that don't be naive. You could stay in the sun and still be vitamin D deficient. Right. Depending on what time of the day that you're in the sun for. And number two is that a lot of people still have this kind of notion like, oh no, I'm gonna eat fruits that have all these vitamins in it. I don't need to take vitamins supplement, and it's a fallacy again that a lot of our people, especially, do not know that the same soil we have today, whether it's in Africa or in the Caribbean, is not the same soil that we had during our forefathers. Soils are not the same. So meaning one, in any kind of, unless you're living in a farm, once you take out any fruits from the ground, it start losing nutritional value. So let's say I'm in Uganda and I'm in Nigeria and I took out and I want to ship you fruits right now that contains vitamin C, vitamin D. By the time you get to Uganda, you already lost some nutritional value by the time it gets over there. And number three, and the point I'm saying, going to the soil is not as fertile as it was back in the days, as back in the days of our forefathers. Remember, a lot of our soil that we have today has been chemicalized, right? And not just chemicalized because we put chemicals in it, chemicalized from the rainwater. Remember, all those chemicals from the Europe and America and China, all those things go to Africa. They're circulating around the world. So it doesn't mean like, you're going to be eating chemicals, but that just means like it doesn't have the same nutritional value as it did back in the days. So you eat nutritional food, but we also need to take our vitamins. And that's why Black people are number one in obesity, number one in diabetes, number one in high blood pressure. Because again, guess what? We take the least vitamins out of every group. Black people don't take vitamins because we don't take it until it's too late. Until now we're vitamin D deficient. And vitamin deficient, a lot of diseases why we have today, epidemic in Africa or in Caribbean or in America, like diabetes, are all results of nutritional deficiency. That kills Black people more than any other disease in the world. So example right now, you have a headache. You think, maybe just I'm stressed. Or I'm just I've been dealing with whatever. But without you knowing that it's nutrition deficiency, because nutrition deficiency kills you slowly. It doesn't hit you off the bat. You could be living normal life. You could be happy, you could be running, you could run fast, you could jog. It kills you slowly. And then when it gets you, it's too late. So I feel like us educating each other about the fact of taking our supplements and also eating right is extremely, extremely important. to our people. Not to wait. And COVID was one reason that, this is not going to be the first pandemic. I believe there's going to be more pandemics coming, and we need to prepare our bodies for that, for the future. And that's one of the main reasons why I started this company. It's not just to create the vitamins. It's just to create awareness that a lot of diseases that we have today, like diabetes, high blood pressure, all comes from nutrition deficiency. If your body's not getting enough nutrition that it needs, supplements that it needs, over time, it gets to a point where now you're developing high blood pressure. Now you're getting diabetes. Now now your babies are having autism. Now you're dying during childbirth. Now you're always sleeping. Now you're always tired. So just bringing out that education is extremely important to our people.
Okay, so okay. For those who don't understand, like me, who have a very poor scientific background, so I just want to get something straight. Our melanin, does it absorb sunlight or does it protect us from sunlight? And number two, what is the importance of vitamin D? And can we get vitamin D from food? And if that one is true, then what types of food should we eat to get vitamin D?
Okay, so our melanin is actually extremely very powerful, creation. It's actually in space. And did you know, before I go into it, answer your question, did you know they actually cover spaceships with melanin so it doesn't burn for it's outer space?
Really?
Yes. Actually, you can look it up. They cover space. They have synthetic melanin. They have synthetic melanin that's actually made in supplement form as well, that people take. People can take as well. So it's not like our organic melanin that we have beautifully, but they cover spaceship. They utilize it for many technology. They use it in software technology, IT, because melanin helps remember, we're electricity. Our brain is electricity, so it's all sending a signal. So melanin allows for signals to move faster. That's why, for muscles to twitch. That's why you see the fastest people in the world are black people. Black people are like the muscle fibers in the body twitch, move quickly due to melanin. The people that could jump highest are black people. Endurance, black people. Even your brain, if you see rappers, do it just like they do, or like people just rap battles. They have to be on their feet, quickly think. Like let's say you say something to me, I gotta say something back. All those things, melanin signaling. So melanin actually creates more intelligence. People. That's why we're more cultural, we're more highly intelligent people, because melanin allows electric signals to move quickly in the body. So melanin is not just in the skin; it's in your brain, it's in your mouth, it's in your eyes, it's everywhere, right? It's all over your body. So it's not just for protection; it does a lot of different things. There's a spiritually effective to melanin too. That's why black people are more spiritual; they're more connected. That's why you go to any black churches, you see them, doing the dance. You see black churches who last to like 10 o'clock at night. While white churches they start at 12, they end at 1. They're very structural. You don't see them doing a dance or doing cash and spirits or all those things. We attribute it to Jesus, but it's really our spiritual connected to the universe, right? So melanin does a lot of amazing things. So in regards to vitamin D and the sun, our effects of the sun. So what is this like? Melanin as a layer of protection. So a lot of black people say, you know what? Since we should be able to absorb vitamins D easily from the sun because we have melanin, but that's wrong. That's one bad thing about melanin that affects us badly than other races. A white person actually can absorb vitamin D more effectively from the sun faster than a black person. If a black person stays in the sun for 2 hours and a white person stays in the sun for 2 hours, a white person will get more vitamin D from the sun than a black person. Way more. Because the rays of the sun, the sun does not bring vitamin D. The sun creates a chemical reaction in the body that creates vitamin D. Vitamin D is a hormone. It's not usually a vitamin, it's a hormone. So the sun does not there's no vitamin D in the sun. The sun just, the rays of the sun penetrate the bloodstream of the skin, the layers of the skin, and the skin, the body actually, due to that chemical reaction, the body creates vitamin D because of the sun. So it's a process. So let's say because you're darker skin, the more darker you are, the more difficult it is for the sun to penetrate into your bloodstream, into your body, because you have all this melanin protecting you. That's why you don't get cancer, you don't get skin cancer as easily as a white person. But a white person doesn't have that protection, so the sun can easily just penetrate into the skin layer where the vitamin D can be created. So and that's what that's one of the downside of having melanin. So black person, we have to stay in the sun for a longer period of time to get vitamin D efficiently. That is why I mentioned earlier that going in the sun is nice. A lot of us don't have that privilege because some of us live in America, some of us live in Europe, some of us live in countries that don't have the sun. And even if you have the country to stay in the sun, you should take your supplement. That's why black people need a higher dosage of vitamin D than other groups. And that is why we have 5,000 IU. I take this personally every day. 5,000 IUs. A white person should be okay with like 600 IUs every day. They're fine. They don't need our dosage. Or 2,000 IUs. They're fine. They don't need our dosage as much as even other groups. So your black skin, if your melanin value differs when it comes to nutritional value. So same thing with other things, with food. Again, a lot of food stores vitamin value. So watermelon, like example, oranges, vitamin C. Watermelon has varies, B1 has different vitamins. Even meat, B12. A lot of people who don't eat meat have suffer from B12 deficiency. So it's not healthy. So that's why sometimes you have to take B12 vitamins for them to get that nutritional value. So a lot of things are poison, not because they're bad. I don't think meat is not bad. We need meat. We eat meat, but too much of anything is bad, of course. But I think because of the kind of meat we eat in America, the kind of like they put a lot of chemicals, they feed a lot of chemicals to these animals, and we ingest that into our body, so it does a lot of bad things to us. So a lot of people might easily attribute meat to bad, but it's not, right? Like a lot of South African nations that eat meat all through their lives and they live long life and they're healthy, things like that. So it's just like a lot of our concept of nutrition has been corrupted. So that's why when people hear vaccine, like conscious Africans, they say vaccine, no. I'm like, yeah, vaccine. I didn't take the vaccine personally, and I work pharmaceuticals. I'm not saying it's good, but it's not bad. It's just that we don't have institutions that create African vaccines. During the COVID, there were African countries, I forgot which one, that they were making drinks, immune booster drinks, that they said that worked against COVID. That that actually they proved that it actually is effective against COVID and other diseases. But we don't control the medical atmosphere. We don't control the medical systems. So what did Western countries do? They killed it. They made sure nobody knows about it. They make sure that it didn't get out there in the world, and people don't talk about it, because again, we don't control that. So everything's about control and power, and that's what affects everything. We always think like these people are good. They like us. They want us to be healthy, and that's not the case. They care about money. Because if you're healthy, it doesn't benefit them. If we have knowledge, it doesn't benefit them for us to be healthy people, especially black people. They want our resources. Why would the same people that want your resources want you to be healthy? It contradicts everything. So, again, I hopefully I answered all your questions in regards to the vitamins and vitamin D.
Probably the importance of the vitamin D product. Like, what if when I take the product as it's supposed to be taken? What is going to change in my body? Like, how is it going to help my body?
Okay, yeah. So, in a lot of different ways. So vitamin D specifically, again, we have all different kind of vitamins, C, zinc. All those vitamins are really helpful, and I could go into how important all those vitamins are, because I think they are. Before I answer your question real quick, for for those of you guys listening, we have a package for men. We have vitamin packages that has all the vitamins you need as a man: vitamin zinc, D, multivitamins, everything you need. We have vitamins for women, everything you need as a woman, right? For a body. So we have all those packages. But I would say vitamin D is the most important vitamin. So I'm really happy that you kind of emphasize on that. So going back to your question, so the reason why vitamin D is like a, how can I put this so everybody will understand? It's like you have a key, right? And you have a door. You have a key that opens a door specifically, right? But that key cannot open another door, correct? So vitamin D is like a key that opens all the doors in your body. All the cells in your body has vitamin D receptors. So like the receptors for your eyes and for your neck, for your organs, for your lungs. So if you take vitamin D efficiently every day, you see better, you get more energy. For men, you have better arousal during sex. You have, you run better. Your mental state is more alive. So it opens all the doors in your body. So vitamin D is actually like a super vitamin. A super vitamin opens every door. So that's why it's imperative, and that is why we need to take our supplements and go get in the sun and get the efficient vitamins. And vitamins are not made the same. It's not like Olayinka vitamins D 5,000 IU is not the same as if you go to another store brand and get other vitamin D. Why is that? Because the ingredients we use in our vitamins are highly potent, and because we also control the farmers, we control the manufacturing aspect of things as well. So we make sure that the ingredients we use is highly potent. If you look to our reviews, people see results in their bodies within a week, 2 weeks. They're like, whoa, like they've been taking vitamins for years and they don't feel the same as when they start taking Olayinka vitamins. So again, this keeps Black people in mind when we're making them. This keeps our melanin value in mind when we're making them. So when we make something, we make sure that it's the top tier, right? So vitamin D actually has all the locks to all the cells in your body. So let's say you start taking vitamin D, you're tired all the time. And next thing you know, you feel more energy. You can't see far. Then you can see farther now, right? So it's even your hair growth. Your hair grow more. Your skin looking more cleaner. So all those things are attributes to vitamin D. So now imagine if something like that has that much power over your body. Now imagine if you're deficient of it. That Black people are the most deficient on the planet. That means no other race is that because of our ignorance. That's why we're in deficient. A lot of us don't think vitamins matter. A lot of us just feel, no, if I stay in the sun for an hour or two, I'll be fine. And we cling to these fallacies that keep us in our position. Now we cannot do movements. We cannot do what we want to do in life, like your movements and connecting as Pan-Afrikans and uniting and do a lot of things that we need to do if our health is bad and if we like holding on to this like lies told to us. And that's why. So imagine now, as a Black person, you're the most deficient on the planet from a vitamin that can help your whole body. You get more tired. Your skin gets more ashy. You just can't even think right. A lot of even depression. A lot of people when they went to psychiatrists, when they go to psychiatrists sometimes prescribe vitamin D for them. Those who are highly deficient. And this is because depression comes from a lot of times when we feel sad. We're like, maybe because I'm just sad. But no, a lot of times it's because of vitamin D deficiency. So vitamins control our moods. Nutritional value control our feelings, our thinking, our mental state. So all those things are highly important.
Wow, that's okay. I think I understand now.
Yeah.
And I need to have one of those vitamins. Because I didn't know. And that's why, like, have you ever thought of creating a sort of like even a weekly or probably daily or monthly show, maybe a podcast, so that you can really educate people about this type of information?
Absolutely, that's what I'm working towards. It's just at this time, just like because I travel so much, I don't have the same the kind of time allocated. I could do that, but that's definitely part of the agenda. To get to a point where I don't have to travel so much, and I can focus on a podcast, educating our people, not just on issues of Pan-Africanism and issues that we face as a people, but on the necessity of having to taking our vitamins every day. It's literally killing us. It's killing us as a race. And we don't know until it's too late. So now when people go to a doctor and the doctor tells them, you have diabetes or you have this cancer, you have not taking vitamin D actually leads to cancer and other vitamins, leads to cancer, leads to all kinds of diseases. And then we take it as, what's going on. But at that time, it's too late. Even if you get better, your body can never be the same again. So it's better to start young. Our young children should be taking vitamins. Teenagers taking vitamins, 20s, 30s. Because a lot of people think vitamins should be for old people. Like when you're about to die. No. You want to live a healthy life while you're old. That's why you guys start young. So when you get old, you still have the energy. You thriving, you're moving, you're healthy. So yeah, so absolutely that's part of the plan. To eventually have a podcast where I can kind of educate our people on what is really, really killing us. It's the number one killer. Nutritional value, not lack of nutrition, because a lot of times we think, oh, diabetes is killing us, blood cancer is killing us. It's not. Lack of vitamin, like us not taking enough nutrition for our bodies killing us, and that's what leads to all those diseases. So that's definitely part of the plan, brother.
When did you start Olayinka Vitamin Company?
So we started about 5 years ago. Funny enough, because at that time before I started the company, I was working on a migraine study. So my plan was to kind of, open a factory and start a company where I wanted to make drugs for migraine, because migraine is the number one issues on the planet. So I knew was gonna bring in a lot of money, is gonna bring in a quick success. But one thing I did realize that, well, of course, it would be for Black people generally, right? But one thing I realized that if I was to start a migrant type company, right, it will be very difficult for my brothers and sisters to make money with me. Like we have over 200 distributors around the world, so I'm going to go into a distributor, aspect a little bit. So meaning like for anybody, because that is considered a drug. Vitamins are considered like food because they're nutritions. So the kind of nutritions you get in food and fruits, that's what is in vitamins. So the government does not consider vitamin a drug. The country was considering them like nutrition. So that's why if you wanted to be a distributor, you can't easily be a distributor without any license, without anything, because anybody can easily just come in and make money. So I figure if I go into vitamins, not only is something that my people need, number one, and number two is a way where I could bring money to the economic system of our people. So meaning like somebody could come in and say, you know what, I would like to start my own business as a vitamin distributor or start my own vitamin company, and I could basically bring them in, give them my vitamins for after price. They sell it full price. The profit will be the difference. I teach them how to open the LLC, train them how to market the products. And that way we have sectors around the world of African people who are now economically doing well because of the vitamins. I wouldn't be able to do that if I was to start a pharmaceutical company making migraines or any other things like that. So that's one component. So I started 5 years ago, and since then we have about 200 distributors around the world. We donate 20% of our profits goes to Black community around the world, goes to orphanages, goes to food programs, and goes to educational programs, teaching about African history and things of that nature.
Wow! That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, like, and how many people do you employ?
So far in our factory, everything we have about 150 employees, and we're still growing. We're still growing. I plan to employ as much as I can. Our goal is also to open a factory in Africa. Nigeria, Ghana, and then I have one in the Caribbean. So the African factory will be kind of like manufacturing the vitamins for African people. We already have one in America that that takes care of America, that takes care of the world pretty much, of our people around the world. But it's made here, so we ship from America to Europe to Africa to Caribbean. So wherever you are, we could ship the vitamins to you. But our goal is to be worldwide, to cater to all of our people around the world. So that's what we're working on right now.
Amazing. So tell us how to get the products and the platform and everything. Yeah.
Yes. That. Oh, sorry. Please, to get the product, please visit our website, www.olayinkavitamin or olayinkavitamin.com. So www.olayinka.vitamin.com. Visit our website. We ship around the world. We ship daily. We don't, we make sure that we have the best possible customer service base. And as a black-owned company, there's a lot of stigma when it comes to black people starting their own businesses, and we make sure to have the highest level possible of authenticity, making sure our people are happy with the products, making sure our people are happy with their service, with the shipment. So we just want to kind of create a different dynamic for our race, saying that we don't need everybody, we need only ourselves, and we can be successful building and creating for ourselves. So please visit our website, www.olayinkavitamin.com. We have Instagram as well, at Olayinka Vitamin, at Olayinka Vitamin. So reach out to me, reach out to us, and let me know if you have any questions. Please let us know.
Great. Well, I think. But before we go, Olayinka, I'd like us to enter into the business part of it, just a little bit, yeah. How is business? Oh, for the 5 years that Olayinka Vitamin Company has been in business, which year was the peak year?
For the PKO, that's a good question. Honestly, I would say maybe the second year. And then we're still, I would say the peak year, not because of profits, because I feel like we made more profits this year than we did the second year. I think is the peak year for me because of the awareness of how far, because when I started the company, a lot of people didn't think it'll work. A lot of people didn't think that the company itself will go off, because they don't really, they say a vitamin company just for black people, you just make it for everybody, that won't be successful, so even again, I spoke to people that went to Harvard, Yale, went to the top universities, who are basically marketing people and other people that work for me, and they would say, I don't know if this is gonna work, it's kind of a risk. But I believed in myself. I believed in my ability to kind of create great products for our race, and this is all. My product is not kind of product where we make it in the kitchen. We have factories, it's all FDA approved, so it's all done pretty accurately and well. So nobody has to worry about us being in the kitchen creating vitamins. No, we have a authentic factory. We have government certification. We FDA approved. We are GMP certified. So GMP means good manufacturing practice. So we have GMP certified, and we manufacture in the United States, right? So yeah, I mean, the second year is when it took off, and kind of showed everybody that I really thought that it wouldn't work, that wow, it's a good idea. So now, ever since then, we've just been going up and up and up. So yeah. So it was a blessing. So I want this company to not just be a blessing for me, but for also my race. Economically, we're putting back money to our communities. We hiring black people, right? We're investing in black people. We're investing in other black businesses as well. So in all aspect of our existence as a race, Olayinka Vitamin Company exists to kind of support that. We want to be a strong pillar of our race. So as we grow and grow as a company, our people are also benefiting from it. So that's the way it should be as a black business. Of any business of any race, they are a pillar of their race. If you go to white institutions, the business is the white is the pillar of that community. If you go to Asian institution, in Asian communities, their businesses are. In our community, do you know what institutions that is the pillar? The mosque and the church. Not, in every other community is the bank, is the tech.
The
They
school.
yeah, they have all these institutions that supports them economically, that feeds them, that builds them up. But us, us is like we wait on divine beings to come from the sky to save us. And that needs to change. We need to invest in our businesses. We need to invest in Olayinka vitamin companies. We need to invest in the African tech companies. We need to invest in African agricultural companies. Those are what's going to save us. That is our savior. You know what I mean? We are only savior. So people have to understand the imperative of what we are doing, of what the company stands for. It's not just a company. It's not just a vitamin company. It is a company that stands for our race. It's a company that stands for our development and our progress as a black people around the world. So I just want us to kind of understand that vision.
Very nice. Very, very, very nice. Last business question. I know you sell all over.
Yeah.
Which which region is the best in terms of sales?
Ah, yeah, okay. I would say, to be honest with you, I would say America. America is the best. I think close second is Africa. We get a lot of sales in Africa as well, and then third would be Europe. I would say America is the best because there is a large population of Pan-Africans in America. There is also a large population of Africans who don't like Africans, like we have anywhere else. But there's a large population of Pan-Africanism movement in America than anywhere else in the world. There are more. I feel there are very pro-black people in Africa. Don't get me wrong. There are pro-black people in Europe, but I think there are more pro-black people in America than anywhere else on the planet, based on my experience and my travels. Like I said, we have brainwashed Africans around the world, everywhere, right? And they are a large population around the world. But I feel like African Americans are so strong in protecting the African heritage. They're so strong and also challenging other races. Like in Egypt or like Arabs. You don't see any other group of black people challenging Egyptians who claim to be Africans, who taking African resources like African Americans. African Americans will tell you, we're African. The Egyptian belongs to Africans. African Americans will tell you pharaohs are Africans. African Americans are the one who are voicing out those concepts. I'm not saying that there was not in Africa, but in America, I feel like the population are so strong in terms of developing the sense of Pan-Africanism, in sense of protecting black businesses, in terms of I don't think my business will thrive as well in Africa as it did in America. I don't think if I started a company just for black people, it will do so well in Africa as it does in America. Not because Africa doesn't have consciousness. It's also because the African Americans have experience with other races. They've had their experience with white people. They've had experience with other races. They have experience with Asians in their neighborhood. They have experience with Arabs, with all kind of. So their history demands that they be conscious to that level. Africans see mostly Africans as problems. They see their leaders as problems. They see the spiders. They see the webs, but not the spiders. They see their leaders as oppressing them, but they don't see the white countries controlling their leaders. So if you ask a common African on the street, what's the problem? Any country African, they'll tell you, you know what? Our governors is a problem. Our leaders. So it's other black people like them that's oppressing them, but they don't see the influence of other races making sure that they stay in that condition. But black Americans, African Americans, and the Africans in America see better. They know better. And they've fought so many times against the wars that they are more efficient in fighting back. That's why black businesses the movement of black businesses is so prevalent in black in African Americans than any other group. Like the idea of supporting black businesses is more prevalent in African Americans than any other group. So I do believe that the key to saving the world, I personally believe that a key of saving the world is not necessarily in Africa, which our resources is there, but the people that will save the planet are African Americans. And I'm not talking about the regular ones. I'm not talking about the brainwashed ones or whatever. I'm talking about the conscious ones. There are so many here and they're doing the work, right? And I feel like their connected to Africans on the continent, connected to Africans in the Caribbean, will be the key to our liberation as a race. You know, like yourself, my brother, like you've been in your country to be such an intelligent brother and to be such a conscious brother. The environment is not conducive of that. The environment that you're in does not develop that. The environment that you're in does not want that to exist, right? In America, you still have that, yes, but you will still more likely find environments that will see a brother like you and push you up and say, you can do it. You got it. We have your back. You're more likely to find that in America than else.
I'm so happy you said that, because when I look at the Pan-African here in Kenya, when I look at the Pan-African landscape, we are only a handful.
Yeah.
And I'm 23 years old. You find that I am right now, I am one of, and if not the youngest Pan-African the youngest global public Pan-African speaker.
Yeah.
But in Kenya, it's only a handful. It's only me and like two guys.
Yeah.
So I really get your point. I really get your point, especially in Kenya, where in fact, my next episode, the one that's coming after the one I'm dropping, will be about the biggest problem in Africa.
Yeah.
And when you ask the average folk here in Africa, what's the biggest problem in Africa? The first thing they'll say is bad leadership, corruption.
Yeah.
Is yeah. And those are big problems.
Right.
But the biggest problem are those 54 borders that we are seeing right now. Those 54 borders that were constructed by European powers in the 1884 Berlin Conference. That is the reason why Africa is poor, and that's the reason why Africa will never ever succeed. For as long as those borders are there, for as long as it's hard for us to trade with each other, it's hard for us to travel to each other, it's hard for us to unite, it's hard for us to have a common currency, it's hard for us to have a common army, it's hard for us to connect with our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. For as long as we have those divisions, we'll never be free. So I'm happy you said that. I'm really happy you said that.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to, one last thing, we have to understand that, going back to my vitamins, right, real quick, because it's very similar to what you're saying. Whenever you have a cold, you cough, you have a fever, right? You have, let's say, you start shaking, you can't eat, you don't want to eat, right? All those things are symptoms of a disease. Or you could have a disease, right? So all those things are not the problem. So when you take medicines, so what medicines does, medicines don't cure you. So let's say medicine just cures the symptoms. So let's say you have a cold right now and you take medicine, you take your vitamins, you take your Olayinka vitamin D, C, zinc, you start to feel better. You don't have no symptoms, but that doesn't mean you can't spread the cold. You could be fine, but you could still have the cold, the virus will stay inside of you. So let's say somebody else interacts with you, somebody else can still catch the cold. So going back to what you said, everything that we're experiencing, the borders, bad leadership, all those things are sneezes, coughs, fever. Now, the issue is lack of consciousness. knowledge of self. Because I promise you, if white people left the planet, we'll still be oppressed people. We'll oppress each other based on white values. White people could leave the planet today and we'll still oppress, like the lightest skinned black people will still be on top. The mixed black people will still be on top. The darker skin you still be at the bottom. In Africa, it exists today, will not go anywhere. So it's imperative to understand that disease is a sickness of the mind that we have as African people. If you ask any African on the street today, be like, you know what, you have a problem against the president, I'm going to make you president so you can solve the problem. They will do the same thing as the last president did. Because why? We don't even see white people as our enemies. We don't see the Arab as our enemies. We don't see the Asians as... How can you even solve a problem with the people that do not have no enemies? They have no enemies. Most Africans, if you ask them, who's your enemy? Is a white man your enemy? They'll be like, nope. I know a friend. I know a friend named Bob. Is white. He's my friend. Asian man your enemy. They have no enemies. And yet, everything is happening to them. So when you have a race that has no enemies, and you can't have any conversation of solution with them. So the solution, I believe, the borders are necessary for Europeans to keep doing what they're doing, for Asians to keep doing. They work together. The Asians work with the Europeans, they work with the Arabs to make sure the borders stay where they are, and to make sure the Africans remain poor, to make sure Africans have bad leadership. It's not just black people. Every other race works together to make sure Africans remain where it is, and the borders remain where it is. And Africans work with them to make sure that Africans remain oppressed. Because what's the first thing Africans do when they make money? They go to Dubai, spend money with the Arab. They go to the white man, spend money with him. So they don't see them as enemies. So when you have a people with no enemies, they're not building up their own businesses. They will tell you, oh, the best business, the best building is that Arab building. Dubai is so beautiful. Instead of when you love yourself and you see Arabs as your enemy, you want to build your own. You want to build yourself. Even if you have a shack, a small building, you still feel proud that it's yours, and you want to develop it to be the best. So, not to talk too much, I just feel like our solution will be conscious brothers like myself and yourself, and many others in the world should be empowered to be wealthy, number one, not just through feelings of Pan-Africanism, but to actually be economically wealthy, to be powerful people, and to work together. Like us working together right now, I have my own program, you have your own program, and we united, we're working together, right? And everybody else will follow suit, naturally. But to think that the whole of Africa will somehow change, and no, because even if they open the borders today, let's say the borders open, it will be so easy to divide us. It will be so easy. All they gotta tell your Kenyan is like, oh, the Nigerians are coming again. They're doing too much. The whole of Kenya will easily just change. Like, no, we don't want to deal with Nigerians. Or the Ghanaians are doing this. Because we don't have no enemies. So any enemy can come in and just create chaos and create problems. So I believe that our solution is really just empowering Pan-Africanists like yourself in Africa, in America, bringing wealth and money into our community as Pan-African people, and then bringing power through unity as a people, so that we can effectively say, you know what, I own Olayinka Vitamin. I want to hire, not just hire Africans, but I need to open these borders for Nigerian people. And when I speak, I have the kind of power that will effectively affect certain governments. You have a tech company. Governments don't control the world. Businesses control the world. The government control is just more of a fallacy. Government is a delusion. Government don't control the world. If the banks say we want this, I promise you it will get done. So we need to grow our businesses. We need to find ways that our businesses bring in money for ourselves, and use that wealth to develop our people. And everybody else, they can believe whatever they want, but you're going to be feeding them. And people follow who feeds them. So whether they believe in whatever, they don't believe what you're doing, doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is that you have the power to control the destiny of our race and a large portion. And that's what we should be striving for. per se.
I'm really, really happy you said that. The software is corrupt. The hardware is good. The software is the one that's
Yeah,
corrupt.
yeah,
If we change the software, or if we, you know what, it's not even change. It's like your it's like your Microsoft, or it's like your Windows.
yeah,
You just need to update it.
yeah.
If you update the software into a higher level of thinking, the hardware will automatically follow. So thank
Exactly.
you, thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you for that. I think we should be winding up. Let me
Yeah.
just give my last word before you give your last word, and then we end the episode. Personally, listen, I want to say thank you. What you're doing to us, improving our health, is amazing, and I'm really happy that you agreed to be a guest in my initiative, Sell Africa to Africans. You are one of the living embodiment of this initiative. You are literally helping us. You are literally healing us. You are literally making us feel better. Okay. And I just want to say thank you, and I pray to God every day that your product succeeds, and I pray that you grow to be bigger than Johnson and Johnson, or I don't know. Well, yeah. Like I pray that whatever you plan to do succeeds. So thank you.
Nah, no, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it will, like again, it's not just me involved in this. My ancestors are involved in this. Our ancestors are involved in this. It's in the spiritual realm. Are involved in this. I'm not just here by myself. So I have no fear of anything. I have no fear of failure. I have no fear of anything that comes with this journey because I know I am not alone. So I have the highest faith in myself. I have the highest faith in what I'm doing. So I don't believe in in hope or maybes. I know. So whenever you know something, you move in a different consciousness. So even if you're faced with death and your existence is not ordinary, death will bow before you. So for me, and when I started this company, where nobody's ever done, I did it knowing that I am not in this by myself. It's been 5 years now. It will be 10 years soon. It will be 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. I will create legacy for our race, and many will come. Many others would as well. But I think believing in yourself is the one fundamental things that we have to truly understand to really be successful in anything in life. Believe in yourself like you believe in God. Believe in yourself like you believe in like God, whatever God you worship, Allah, Jesus, whatever. If you believe in yourself like you believe in that, any of the spiritual realm will open up for you. Nothing, no God you worship works without your own sense of understanding of how things work. So if you have doubts, you're scared, whatever you hope, you pray, just know what's gonna happen. And then God will say, God, the world, the heavens cannot say no. Because you have to really challenge things that you feel might be wrong, that you feel will not happen. You have to say no because you are God embodiment. I believe I am God. I am God. Africans are the first human beings, right? So it says God created man first. So that means I look like God. So I am God in the full extent of the word. So when I say this is yes, it's a yes. So I don't believe in hope. I don't believe in maybes. I believe in I know. So us meeting right now, having this conversation, it was meant to be, right? It's in the spiritual realm. It existed before it existed, right? So that is my philosophy when it comes to doing what I do, and I'm never afraid of this. So I do appreciate your prayer, brother. I'm just saying that to kind of like hopefully motivate other people to understand that there is no power in the heavens. There is no power in the heavens, and there is no power in anywhere in this world that is greater than faith in yourself. So I do, I do pray for, your program will do well, because I know it will. And any other people watching this program that is, want to start their own businesses, that is doing whatever they're doing, just believe in yourself and know it's going to do well. And I promise you will. So thanks so much for having me on this platform.
Wow. And I just want to say, like, to me, the phrase of the day is believe in yourself like you believe in God. I like that. I
Yes.
like that. I like that.
Imperative. Yeah, you have to. And because it's easy when you know you're a God. When you know you're a God, it's easy to believe in yourself. Believe itself, it means like it conduits doubt. If you say, I believe something's going to happen, and I say, I know something's going to happen, we're not in the same frequency. So, but when you know you're a God, and you say, you know what, I know it's going to happen, and you believe it's coming, that means like my frequency of thinking is now in the same realm. If I know I'm a God, and and God is a creator, and I'm creating businesses, and I create Olayinka Vitamin Company, and I create Olayinka Skincare Company, what am I doing? I am moving in a divine realm of who I am, of a God. So we have to move in terms of knowing who we are. So when you believe that you're a God and you know you're a God, you have to know who you are to really exert that into the world. So Olayinka Vitamin Company was just a thought in my head. And now it's in existence for 5 years. God created whatever the universe, what thought and said it, and the universe existed. So we have to know that we are mini gods. We are God's self. So it's like when you move in that sense, a lot of fearful things that we're so afraid of, we're like, oh, this might happen or that might happen. It tends to dissipate, and we tend to move in a certain different level of consciousness. Because even spirits will follow your lead, will conform to your will once you know who you are. If you don't know who you are, you bow into everything, you're submitting to everything, things will just move you around. Today you're having this day, you're having that. You just like you have no room in anything. But when you know who you are, even the God of heaven will say, you know what? I was gonna go this way, but I'm going that way. So it's very, very imperative that we know we as African people. Because one more thing before I go, my brother, to brainwash an African, to make an African want to be like a white person, to make an African want to wear suits every day, to make an African want to speak English and not learn their own language, to make an African not want to be African, you have convince the African that his existence is inferior. African must not know who he is. For an African to want to marry outside of their race, to want to do all those things, so all kind of behavior, you must convince them that they're whoever they have is primitive. You must convince them that their ancestors are animals. You must convince them that they're primitive people. You must convince them that they're not intelligent. You must convince them that their culture is primitive. That's the only way. It cannot work without your permission. You have to permit that in your mind, that the white man is better than me, that the Asian man is smarter than me. You have to know that in your mind for their brainwashing to work. Now, if you know you are an inferior being, a superior being, and you are the epitome of godliness, and you are the true image of God, it's extremely difficult for them to control you. It's extremely difficult for them to brainwash you and tell you that you're not enough. To tell you that, to look good, you gotta perm your hair. To look good, you gotta have blue eyes. To look good, you gotta have lighter skin. To look good, you have to wear a suit every time. To be smart, you have to speak English. So you have to be convinced of that. So now we know you are, you love who you are, you know your African culture is superior. It's highly difficult for you to become like them. So now you become a threat. So all those things intertwine with each other. So hopefully hopefully I leave that, with a sense of wisdom to our people, to understand that you could actually go back. You could actually reverse their spell upon us. Once we believe in us, once we know who we are, we know that we are connected to God, and we know that we are superior people. We're not equal. We're not inferior. We are superior people. So once we believe in our superiority, not equality, not inferiority, superiority, and everything else, symptoms I'm talking about, not scared to start a business, scared to, develop ourselves, develop our country, will go away.
You heard the man. Black people are vitamin D deficient. And after hearing this interview, after knowing all the importance of vitamin D, if you want to try out Olayinka vitamins, then go to olayinkaproducts.com, where you'll find the vitamin products alongside other supplements. You can also find them on Amazon. And follow him on Instagram at Olayinka Companies. Thank you.